So we got another video game news, I guess. Disaster? What's the correct term? I don't know. More like a video game L, let's say. How many of you guys checked out, Saints Row before we get into the whole thing? Yeah, Saints Row. This wonderful trailer from this fantastic game that came out, I think over the summer, maybe it was last year. That was all about Gen Zers fighting for, if my memory's right, they were fighting because they couldn't pay off their student loans and they were trying to enact communism in the world of Saints Row. You remember that, this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. This was a disaster. Why did you ever think this was a good idea? Why? You come over here, you get your Metacritic. Yeah, it's panned. It was a disaster. Even critics were very high on this thing. Well, now, get here. Come back over to Michael. I kind of like this account. This is a fun account. What's this? Saints Row reboot costs over $100 million to develop, led to big loss for publisher. I know you won't listen, but if you want fans to stop complaining and giving y'all shite, maybe it just maybe replace these clowns and give us the real Saints. Doesn't even have to be the old crew, just real gangsters. That would honestly clear up a lot of the hate you guys are getting. Haters gonna hate. Yeah, that was one of the big parts about the Saints Row reboot. Remember, it wasn't just this. It wasn't just this. It was, if you pushed back at all, if you criticized it at all, Embracer Group, their Reddit page, their Discords, anything against it, on Twitter, like you see right here, they were coming after you and berating you for not liking it. They were calling you haters. They were calling you all sorts of things. They were banning you from Discords. They were banning you from Reddit groups. They couldn't stand the pushback. Well, what happened? What happened? Saints Row franchise in jeopardy. Embracer CEO addresses Saints Row poor reception. Embracer Group is taking a few risks after Saints Row flop. Fewer risks after Saints Row flop. Saints Row sales bombed has changed how Embracer greenlights new project. Yeah, the franchise might be dead because of this disaster. This disaster, which wasn't just, the story's ridiculous. Again, it's Gen Zers fighting because they couldn't pay off college debt and trying to embrace communism in the world of Saints Row. How many people here actually played Saints Row or know the world? It's ridiculous. It's upbeat. It's like Grand Theft Auto with the ridiculous level cranked up to 100. It's fun. It's actually enjoyable. Really enjoyable. It's ridiculous. But fans criticize the dated graphics, poor mechanics, and even worse, writing as particular flaws that led to it being an unpleasant experience for players. Before the reboot, the last game in the series was Saints Row Gate Out of Hell, in 2015. Again, this was not well received by critics. Before this was 2013 Saints Row 4, which for some fans is seen as the point of the game jumped the shark. Many players out there would make the argument that the franchise has not seen a good game since 2011 Saints Row 3, which is why some may not be surprised by this recent news. Yeah, the franchise has been struggling for a long time. I'll be honest. Gate Out of Hell was not good. Saints Row 4 wasn't that great. That being said, they were fun games still. They knew what Saints Row was. It was just extremely ridiculous to next degrees ridiculousness. This was not even that. This was something completely different. This was taking the IP, something we've been complaining about a lot though. This was them taking the IP, an IP we know, an IP that's popular, an IP people do like. But instead of giving you the IP that you like, that's popular, that we're giving you something completely different. We're not going to give you the ridiculous character customization abilities, the fun stuff. We're going to give you Gen Z. We're going to give you the stereotypical Gen Z people, and we're going to give you communism. The franchise is now in disaster. You had this again from this was about maybe last year. Embracer CEO addressed Saints Row poor reception. Embracer Group CEO Laris Wing speaks to investors regarding the overall poor reception of the Saints Row and plans for its future. It's dead. It's dead in the water. You can't be that shocked though. You can't be shocked that a game that looked disastrous, that nobody actually played, that was broken on launch, that you, like I come over here, you berated people for criticizing. To the next degree, mind you, failed. We've been pointing this out for a long time. This goes to Star Wars. This goes to MCU. This goes to everything. This is just a smaller version of that. That happened a whole lot faster. This is like G4. You can't berate the fans. You got to give the fans kind of what they want. Fans usually are smarter than you think. But instead, what did you do? You berated the fans. You said any criticism was nothing more than haters gonna hate. They aren't real fans. They don't know what they're talking about. Get out. We don't want your money. Bye. And what happened? The game flopped. The game was a disaster. I saw that gameplay. It was broken. It was pathetic. The story was different style ridiculous. Like the first Saints Row was ridiculous for a reason. Kind of fun ridiculous. This was a joke. This was pathetic. This was not fun, not something people wanted. And it's very weird when a corporation, like this, like Embracer Groups and stuff, starts trying to push communism. It's disturbing and disgusting. But you get what you get. I mean, take a look at Star Wars right now. Star Wars isn't in a good position. Is it? No, it's not. Take a look at Rings of Power. Who remembers Rings of Power? They berated the fans. Star Wars berated the fans. MCU is doing okay. Not great. It's pedaling along. It's slowly dying, but they berated the fans. They put the fans in the show and berated them. How is everything else doing? Saints Row is just another microcosm of this. You go to G4. G4 came out and did the sexism in gaming. Granted, it was going to fail from the beginning. I just think sexism in gaming ended up speeding it up, making it go a bit faster down the path of no return, let's say. What else happened? You berate the fans. The fans are the people at the end of the day that fund this stuff, that are going to come out here and buy your shite. Censoring for YouTube. You can't do that. Whoever's bright idea it was for this was ridiculous. Okay, they should be fired. They should be immediately fired. Everybody on this game should be fired. I'm serious. Because this was a joke for the franchise. This was a joke for anything. That everything associated with this reboot needs to be gone. But if memory serves, because I did a video on this for it was Dead Rising. Both, I think Saints Row and Dead Rising. No, not Dead Rising, Dead Island. Dead Island 2, more precise. Their parent companies, I think, initially failed. They got bought up by a new group, and they start injecting the stuff into it. Like Dead Island 2 is going to have similar stuff in here that Saints Row had. Dead Island 2 was ridiculous as well. Fun, ridiculous, cult classic. It's going to have similar things to this. Because they went hard into the DIE, the die narrative. They went hard into that. They brought it all over this thing. I did a whole video breaking that down, would be several months ago, when I was learning about Dead Rising 2 and that stuff. Not Dead Rising 2. Why am I saying Dead Rising 2? Dead Island 2. You're going to have more of this. You can't berate the fans. You can't attack the fans. You can't attack the people that are going to be coming out here and buying this game. And then the people that stay around, you can't give them a broken game. If memory served, within like the first few days, I actually might look this up real quick. Give me a second. I couldn't find the initial article that I was looking for, but you had this one. Saints Row Reboot physical sales drop a staggering 80% in the UK a mere week after it's launched. If memory served, and I'm sorry, I had that huge break and stuff. That cut. I was trying to find a specific article, but if memory serves, they didn't just have like this huge drop. They also had, within the first few hours, tons of sales, tons of copies of the game, digitally and physically, being returned because it was so bad. People hated this game. This game was a disaster. This game was a joke. This game was a mess. And it all comes back again, like I've been saying. You bashed the fans and then you gave out a crap product. But hey, that's just my take on it. If you guys like the video, give it a thumbs up. Share it out with your friends. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell for every time I put out a new video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.